All right, here is every single problem with bulking I can think of with solutions. First of all, why should you trust me? I went from this to this in my transformation, and my strength went up a lot when I was bulking, so I knew I was doing it right. I'm up to a 120 bench right now, 46.25 kg weight to pull up. Endurance is good as well, 32 reps on pull ups. So I've made massive improvements, and I can help you do the same thing. If you listen to me, you'll get it done in a year tops, and you'll feel amazing at the end of the year. So first problem is you're not gaining weight. You're on a bulk where you're not gaining weight. How is this happening? The solution is to track your calories accurately with a food scale, measuring everything that enters your mouth. So add up the calories accurately and learn how to track food. So this is, I can make a whole video about this, but the basics is you have two types of food. You have food that has a nutrition label, and you have food that doesn't have a nutrition label. If your food has a nutrition label, it's pretty easy. If you're measuring like a muesli bar or something, it says on the back how many calories it is for one. If it doesn't have a nutrition label, that's where you use the food scale. So let's say for dinner you have rice with chicken, something basic, right? You have 100 grams of cooked rice, 200 grams of cooked chicken, whatever. You would measure each part of that meal before you put it in the bowl. So you get your bowl out, you put it on the scale, you zero the scale. So the scale reads zero when the bowl's already on it. So you count the weight of the bowl as zero. Then when it reads zero, you add like your rice into the bowl and should say a number. That number could be 100, 150, whatever. That's how much rice you're having. Then you can zero the scale again. So it's back to zero. So it counts the bowl plus the rice as 0 grams. You add your chicken in. Then that would count it as whatever weight of chicken that is. So that could be 100 grams, 150 grams, 200 grams. You could do the same thing. Let's say you're having a glass of milk. You could just eyeball it as 1 glass of milk. If you're taking it to the extreme, you would weigh out how much like grams of milk it is. You wouldn't have to do that for milk because you could just eyeball as 1 carb. Let's say you have your breakfast, yogurt with granola, for example. You put in your yogurt. Me personally, I got 350 grams of plain yogurt, then I added 90 grams of granola, and then added some berries. I don't measure the berries because it doesn't make that big of a difference. But yeah, measure pretty like nearly everything that you eat that would have calories in it. So that's your problem. If you're not gaining weight, you're not eating enough. If you want to make sure you're eating enough, then track everything you're eating and make sure you hit your calorie goal, whatever that is. Second point is money. This is the big one. People say that, and it's a fair point, that bulking costs a lot of money. And I thought this too, but then I was doing the math one time. This is straight from ChatGPT, so it might be a bit inaccurate, but bulking versus cutting the cost. So I gave it a scenario of eating 3,500 calories a day, and you're buying the foods in bulk, because when you're bulking, you're going to buy larger quantities of food. It makes sense to buy in bulk. And when you're cutting, you're buying like normal serving sizes of the food, and you're on 14,000 calories a week, 2,000 calories a day. So it gave me as bulking was $56 a week and cutting was $49 a week, a difference of around $1.10 a day. That may not be completely accurate. It might be, the difference might be $2 a day, about $60 a month. But I want you to think of it in the sense of it's an investment into your physical appearance. If someone offered you had to pay them $60 to gain a kilo of muscle this month, you would genuinely take that instantly. If someone offered you, it was like a subscription service, you have to pay $60 a month to gain weight on your lifts, get stronger, get bigger, fill out shirts, look bigger in person, look like a larger like human being, you could pay that $60 instantly. So think of it as an investment. You're not just spending on food, you're spending on the chance to get bigger, get stronger, and treat the food as an investment. You can obviously do other stuff like trying to get an extra hour of work a week or something, but the money part is not as big of a deal as a lot of people make it out to be. For some people, if you're having like 4,500 calories, then it would get like pretty bad, the cost of the food. But again, treat it as an investment into your physical appearance. Treat it as like getting haircuts or your gym membership. put it on that tier. So practical advice though, you can have your staples. Beans and rice are pretty cheap. Protein powder is pretty cheap per scoop. Eggs are pretty cheap. Chicken is pretty cheap. Red meat is pretty expensive. It's great for you, but it's pretty expensive. So be realistic if you can afford it. And be happy to spend more on the food for being the rewards of being bigger and stronger. So yeah, if you're trying to save as much as you can, beans, oats, and rice and potatoes. Carb sources are super cheap. Protein is pretty expensive, so stick to protein powder, eggs, and chicken. And you can add tuna as well, supplement with that. And yeah, you should be good. Have a multivitamin, fruits and vegetables if you want. They're not necessary, but you can add them if you want. And you should be pretty good. And you can eat pretty healthy as well. So like if your diet is beans, eggs, chicken, rice, oats, potatoes, and then you have butter and seasoning with that, and like you get those little spice packets, it tastes pretty good, and it's not pretty unhealthy either. You don't need to have junk food. So thinking that you can't bulk because you can't cook. So you don't actually need to be a good cook. You just need to get really good at one recipe. That's like gonna take you like 2 or 3 days, and just add on meals. So for example, I have a recipe guide in the school group, and example of a recipe is a granola bowl. So if you're completely new, it's pretty like self-explanatory. Like if your IQ is like above like 30, then you should be knowing how to make a granola bowl. But you just put the yogurt in the bowl, you add the granola, and then add your berries and stuff. So it's pretty self-explanatory. That's a pretty basic one. If you want to make like roast chicken or something that's like a staple for you, then make it one time, follow the recipe exactly. It's going to take you like twice as long as it's going to take it the next time. And then the next time you can kind of say, oh, I did that. Like it's just muscle memory. So it's like when you start a new split at the gym or you start a new workout routine. It takes you a while to get used to it. But after a week or something, it's just like, oh, I walk from this machine to this machine. I walk from this machine to the dumbbell rack. I put my warm-up stuff here and then I put my bag there. It's like, it's pretty self-explanatory, and you get used to it. So you don't need to be a good cook. You can just follow the recipes online and make the same, like have like a roster of like 5 meals and you just make the same ones out of them. So you don't need to be a good cook. You just need to be good at making like 3 to 5 different meals and you just bam them. This is the bad one. If you're gaining fat and not muscle, this is pretty bad. So are you actually getting fat, or is it just your body dysmorphia that you got from watching like aesthetic videos on Instagram or something? So if your strength's going up, you're fine. That's pretty much the rule. If you're getting stronger, you're not getting fat enough where it matters. And there's a few ways of judging how your strength is going up. So me, myself, and then I have clients as well where your body weight lifts and your barbell lifts go up at the same time, which is like amazing. So they'd be lifting 5 kg on weighted pull-ups, and then after a while they'd be lifting 7.5 kg on weighted pull-ups with the same reps and sets. And at the same time, their bench goes from 75 to 77.5 while they're bulking. That's an amazing bulk because your pound for pound strength is going up, your absolute strength is going up as well, and that's amazing. If only your barbell lifts are going up, you're still happy with that. It's still a decent bulk as long as you're getting stronger. But if nothing is going up, then you need to go back and then check everything pretty much. Check your protein intake, check your sleep. Are you sleeping 8 hours a night quality, same time every day, same sleeping window? Are you training consistently? Are you training at least 3 times a week? Are you training intensely enough to get stronger? Are you tracking your food accurately? So you can go back to all the things that actually matter and check, are you doing all of them? Because if one of them is off, you're probably gonna like tank your progress. And this is why, like, I'm obviously biased because I'm coaching, but when you get coaching, you can literally have another pair of eyes look at everything you're doing and then figure out like which one's missing. Because it's super obvious for me to tell when like something's missing. But then when you're looking at yourself, I notice this as well. When I'm looking at what I'm doing myself, it's harder to tell if you're missing something versus if I'm looking at someone else. It might just be like you're biased towards yourself. You're going to think that you're doing everything right. But when I'm looking at someone else, it's super easy to figure out what they're doing wrong. But then when you're looking at whatever you're doing yourself, you might have this as well. When you're looking at what you're doing, you forget that, oh, I haven't had like a high protein meal in like 3 days. Like you just forget random stuff like that. Like you just think, oh, I've been having 6 hours of sleep for the last few nights and I thought I had 8. Like it's random stuff like that. So yeah, you notice that you've only been training like 3 times in the last 2 weeks and you think you're going like 3 times a week. Like your mind just like makes play tricks on you. So when you have someone looking over you, it makes it so easy. So next point, feeling fat. So the solution to this is remember that pretty much everyone is above 15% body fat, like in the world. Yeah, there's pretty much no one out there in real life, in person, that's under 15% body fat and has good size. So you're probably doing better than you think. And you at your fat stage is like average at worst. Not even average. You at your fat stage is like in the normal range at worst. Like you when you think you're fat, unless you're actually fat, which is like a different thing. But if you're trying to bulk up and you think you're getting fat, then you're at worst, you're like a normal guy. So it's not too bad. Solution still is weekly progress pics and weekly weight averages. So I talked about in another video measuring your body weight in the morning. The method was same time after you wake up, go to the toilet and go straight to the scale. Wear the same thing when you weigh yourself, and get a weekly average of your body weight. So let's say your bulk lasts 16 weeks or 20 weeks, which is a nice bulk. Per week, you would have a certain weight average. So week 1, let's say your average is 70 kg. Week 2, your average is 71. So the way that works is like, let's say week 1, you weigh in at like 69, 70, 69, 70, 71, 72, whatever that is. And the math just averages out to around 70. You want your weekly average weight, the average of the 7 days, to go up by under half a kilo a week if you're scared of getting fat. So yeah, under half a kilo a week, around 1 pound a week, a bit more than 1 pound, but yeah. If you're really scared of getting fat, then under a third of a kilo a week, so 3 pounds a month. But you should not have to do that, especially if you're younger and you can gain weight pretty fast and you're pretty new to training. You can stick at half a kilo a week and you'll feel fine. No appetite. This is a pretty annoying one and I face this a lot. Solution is more low intensity steady state cardio. Get 10k steps a day minimum if your appetite is pretty bad, and if you need more, get more. So yeah, I was force feeding a lot, which I probably didn't have to do when I was last bulking. It was pretty annoying. And solution, yeah, I don't know why I didn't think of this. It's actually annoying. But I should have just gotten 10k steps a day. And to be fair, I was averaging around like 11, 12k. But yeah, get more if you need. Like I got a mate that gets like 20k steps a day and he does it. He just goes for a big walk in the morning. He wakes up pretty early, goes for a big walk in the morning, and then goes for a big walk at night, and he gets 20k steps in pretty easily. So consider that minimum 10, and 20 is going to help out a lot. And you might think that if I'm getting 15k steps a day into something, that it's going to burn off my whole surplus. But no, not really. Walking doesn't burn a crazy like amount of calories compared to a lot of things. Like if you're doing high intensity sport or you're sparring or you have a soccer match or something, or you have training sessions like fitness sessions, that would burn a lot more than you're walking. And you can literally have like 1 muesli bar after you walk, and your surplus is like your whatever calories you lost is covered. So it's pretty good. I would walk if you could. So if you want like a full breakdown of how to not mess up when you're bulking, join the school group or have a bunch of stuff in there to help you. Full course on bulking, full course on gutting, full guide to your hormones, health and stuff. And specifically for bulking, it tackles a lot of these issues that I'm talking about right now. Specifically like how to look better when you're bulking, how to not look like you're bulking when you're bulking. So you keep getting bigger, but you don't look fat and stuff. So yeah, join it. I would recommend highly. All right. Thanks for watching.